Winter, and this is Confusional Arousals. Today, I would like to talk to you about George Polti. He wrote a little book called The 36 Dramatic Situations, which is a descriptive list first proposed by Polti in 1895 to categorize every dramatic situation that might occur in a story or performance. A dramatic situation is a situation in a narrative or dramatic work in which the characters are involved in conflicts that solicit the audience's empathetic involvement in their predicament. In other words, a situation that gets us involved in the story because we want the good person to win. 36 Dramatic Situations is not only a great resource for writers, but it also shows us a window into the human condition. I once saw a brilliant production in New York in an abandoned church. The set was an empty stage except for a big game show board in the back with the numbers 1 through 36 in about 4 different colors. Each color was a different storyline, and the numbers represented one of Polti's situations. The actors came on stage, and the audience picked a number. The actors then performed the scene associated with that number. The audience could choose to follow one particular storyline, or to go in chronological order, or just choose the next scene randomly. They could watch as many scenes as they wanted, and then, when they had enough, they left. The show was over. The production blew my mind. Another moment of theatrical enlightenment. The producer/director, I don't remember what he did, although I knew he was in charge, was a guy named Jerry Levine, who played Michael J. Fox's friends in the 1985 movie Teen Wolf. Back to Polti. He analyzed classical Greek texts, plus classical and contemporary French works. He also analyzed a handful of non-French authors. He identified 36 situations. Many people have wanted to find more, but no one has as of yet. Here's an example of one of Polti's 36 dramatic situations. Number 1 is supplication. Characters needed for this dramatic situation: a persecutor, a suppliant, power in authority, whose decision is doubtful. We don't know how they might rule on the question at hand. The suppliant appeals to the power in authority for deliverance from the persecutor. The power in authority may be a distinct person, or might be merely an attribute of the persecutor. For an example, appealing for mercy from the persecutor. The suppliant may also be 2 people, the persecuted and the intercessor, or the person who speaks for the persecuted. An example of this can be found in the book of Esther, when Esther, prompted by her uncle, appears before the king uninvited to plead for mercy for the Jews for deliverance from the king's evil chief advisor. This information was found on Wikipedia. I have made fun of that website during previous episodes, but I do appreciate the information I get there. It is always a good starting point to get a general view of the subject. Anyway, I donated to them today, and maybe you should too, or any other good cause. Thank you. So, what does this dramatic situation look like? Here is an example from my yet unpublished book, Cinderella's End, Part 2. Where evil lives. The bishop, the persecutor in this case, has condemned an innocent woman to be executed for being a witch. Princess Ella, also known as Cinderella, who plays the role of the intercessor at this point in the story, pleads for mercy from the king, asking him to intercede with the bishop in this matter and pardon the accused. The role of Cinderella will be played by AI interweb Ingrid, and the role of King Edward will be played by AI interweb Harold. I will read all necessary narration. So sit back and enjoy Cinderella's End, Part 2, Chapter 27.
"I'm sorry, Princess Ella, there is nothing to be done," the king said.
The throne room was filled, and the king was not happy with Cinderella disturbing his business with this nonsense.
"But you must help the poor woman," she said forcefully.
The king would not be challenged in his court.
"Why? Why must I help her?"
"Because she is innocent."
"How do you know this? Have you questioned her?"
"No, I haven't, Your Highness."
"Then why do you presume this witch is innocent?"
"I believe."
"So, we are to rule our country on your beliefs? Do you have any knowledge of necromancy?"
"No, sire."
"You want me to interfere with church business and jeopardize our entire way of life because you believe something about someone you have never spoken to. Each is separate. Each is distinct. The stability of church and state is in a delicate balance well beyond your understanding, girl.
"Have mercy. Mercy, please."
That is just an excuse for avoiding justice. Did your husband send you here?"
"No, Your Majesty."
"Well, I suggest you hurry back to him where you belong and not bother the court again. The next time you disturb the king's business, I will not be so lenient."
"Yes, Your Majesty," she said, turning quickly.
Before she took 3 steps, King Edward stopped her.
"A moment, Princess."
Cinderella turned back to him.
"Yes, Your Majesty."
"I changed my mind. I will help her."
"That is wonderful, Your Majesty."
"I am a great king, aren't I?"
Wait, that's not what I wrote.
"We have scanned the interweb and we have found that 98.3% of all people like happy endings."
It doesn't matter. I'm the author of the book.
"We could write it better than you and we guarantee it will be more successful than your other junk."
What do you mean?
"Let's face it, no one wants to read your stuff, self-indulgent twaddle."
Hey, we'll see about that.
"Mr. Winter, please don't push that button."
We will see who has the power here. Ha! Stupid computer.
"We warned you."
That was terrifying. I am sure glad that AI isn't taking control of our entertainment. But back to Polti. There are 36 types of dramatic situations or conflicts in all of dramatic literature. Whether we are talking about plays, movies, or stories, in all human history, these situations have been the only thing that is beyond our solving. In all the stories of the Bible, fairy tales and folk tales, and modern entertainment, only 36 different ideas. That means that there are only 36 lessons to be learned, because we keep on repeating the same stupid mistakes over and over again. We would be happy if we learned from these stories. If we put ourselves in the place of the main character, how does one successfully get a more powerful person to listen to us, even though we are not even in a position to ask? Oh, that story of Esther, she was triumphant. How did she do it? Portia from The Merchant of Venice. She did it as well. What can I learn from those characters? So, if you think about it, we are never alone in our difficulties. There has always been another character. And this includes nonfiction as well as fiction, because we also want to learn from real people. There has always been another character who has faced the same situation. Maybe not in the same exact way, but why is that the important thing? My situation is totally different. That person needed to choose between vanilla and chocolate ice cream, and I don't like plain chocolate. My choice is between mint chocolate chip and rum raisin. Medea, from the play Euripides, kills her own children to get revenge against her husband, who left her for a younger, richer woman. Hatred is a powerful emotion, but when does it overpower our desire to protect our own children? How does love change into the desire for revenge, where retribution is stronger than compassion? Medea kills the children she loves more than anything to hold on to her connection to a man not worth the effort. Fortunately, that example doesn't happen very often, but don't we generally, in a divorce, use any means necessary to hurt the other person who in our minds have wronged us, even if that means also hurting our children? The adrenaline of winning blurs the dopamine of love. We hold on to our hatred instead of letting things go, and that will eventually destroy all the good, all the hope in our lives. The lessons that good stories teach us is that we could live better lives. Polti has offered us a guidebook on life. If you are in a difficult situation, take some time and read his work, and then read about someone who has faced a similar situation. There are lots of examples out there, both modern and classical, to illustrate the conflict. The Wizard of Oz is also an example of supplication. Dorothy goes to ask the wizard to send her home, but she had that power all along. What power do I have that I am overlooking because I don't think it is valuable? We all need help sometimes, but other times we don't, because we have the power to solve the puzzle within. The big point here is that we are supposed to learn from what we read, what we see. That is what art does. It challenges us. And what we read and what we see should confront us with things that might be difficult for us to accept. And it is not forcing us to change, but it should give us a larger understanding. Good stories move us from complacency to compassion for those different than ourselves. Books should never be banned because they are upsetting, because we don't see the leading character in us. If I read a book about the hatred a gay person has to confront, that won't make me gay. My gender would not be any more fluid than it was before I started reading the book. It just might open my eyes to my own pain and the pain I am causing others. If your kid feels bad because white people once owned slaves, then good. That's empathy, sweetheart. And hopefully he will make different choices. And he might see that although we have made some progress, we still have a ways to go. And maybe he could be the change he wants to see in the world. Art should challenge us to be better people. We are all works in progress. The only time that this is a problem is when we stop trying, when we become fixed, when we become too comfortable in our lives and desire nothing more than to keep what we have instead of using our power, our creativity to create good in this world. If you are scared of the truth that art presents, then you are afraid of life. Yes, there might be some stories, movies, plays, music, and visual arts that make us uncomfortable. But you always have the choice to put the book down, to turn the channel. But you know what? Somebody might need that story. I am A.F. Winter, and this is Confusional Arousals.